From the title, you might assume that Montenegro is a military exporter or a producer of natural gas, but nothing could be further from the truth. Now, I could just give you the answer now, but if you're curious enough to click on a video about the Montenegrin economy, then you're probably going to want to know the whole picture. So in this video, I'll explain the basics of the Montenegrin economy, how the country almost broke it 2 times in the last decade, and how the war in Ukraine saved it. I don't blame you if you don't know a lot about Montenegro. It's a very small, very beautiful country in the Mediterranean. It used to be a part of Yugoslavia and then a part of the Union of Serbia and Montenegro. As you can tell from the name, it was the Montenegrin part. Until in 2006, it peacefully separated. After leaving Serbia, Montenegro experienced a major economic boom thanks to its real estate and tourist industries. At the time, the rest of the Balkans were doing a lot worse than now. It seemed like Montenegro was the sole rising star. But it didn't last. Both the Great Recession and the Eurozone crisis made things worse, and the government was making questionable decisions. With Chinese loans, they constructed their first highway through extremely difficult terrain. It was a questionable and very expensive decision. Definitely a risk, and time will tell if it will turn out to be a good one. But one thing is sure, the country was getting into more and more debt. And here is something you should know about the Montenegrin economy. It's based on tourism. Sort of like the story of the cricket. The country would have a great summer season, and that influx of money would last it until the next summer. There is nothing wrong with this. Tourism is a great industry to have, most of the time. Then came 2020 and the pandemic. Now, this was bad for almost every country, but it was devastating for Montenegro. Overnight, all tourism was gone, and with it, the most important part of the Montenegrin economy. At the time where almost the entire continent went into a recession, Montenegro went into a super recession, losing 15% of its GDP. It was the hardest hit country in Europe, by far. A year later, Montenegro was recovering, and it was a good, strong recovery. But still, the country was suffering from stagnant wages for over half a decade. So they decided to take a big risk, implement the so-called Europe Now program. It was a big salary tax reform. Now, it's a bit complicated and very interesting. I might make a video on it in the future, but the end result was a significant rise in wages, but it will be followed by a lot more government direct spending. This would be a big risk for any country, but a really dangerous one for a country with high debt and recovering from a devastating recession. And they did it anyway. Now, I love Montenegro. It's sort of like a man losing money in a casino and losing a lot of money and yelling double or nothing. If Montenegro can get a lot of money into the country in the next few years, it would have been a major success. If not, it could cause a spiral of debt, repayments, recession, more debt, more repayments, and so on. And that brings us to the present. The war has been going on for over a year, and during that time, Montenegro managed to become a prime target for Russians and Ukrainians looking to flee either the war or the draft. In 2022, the number of foreigners in the country was between 60 and 80,000. 2/3 of those were Russians. And most of those migrants are young, educated, and have jobs. They were the people that could actually move away from their country. So either they had a lot of money or they had jobs that allowed them to work from anywhere. These are people like consultants, programmers, managers, and so on. So not only are those jobs high paying, but they are also not competing with the local population for employment. This is so much bigger than it seems at first. You see, Montenegro has about 250,000 active workers. So adding only 50,000 for comparison would be like the United States receiving 30 million extremely well-paid remote workers. And all that money that they are earning is being spent in the country. It goes towards taxes and local stores and businesses. In a way, this is similar to tourism, only it's a lot better since it lasts all year long. So why did they go to Montenegro? Well, it's a mix of factors. The country is safe, well connected, and cheaper than many other European alternatives. Also, Russians, the most numerous group, don't need a visa to enter. And look at the pictures. It's a beautiful Mediterranean country. Why wouldn't they want to go there? There is one more thing you might be wondering. Placeholder, how is this possible? How does a country of 600,000 people house an additional 80,000 within half a year? Most other countries would not be able to do this. Well, Montenegro has a unique advantage. You know how I said that it's a tourist country? Well, the thing about being a tourist country is that you have so much real estate that is empty for most of the year. Still, there are negative consequences. It did drive up rent prices, and I don't want to ignore that. It's a real problem. And here, the second Montenegrin advantage comes in. Like most of Eastern Europe, Montenegro has a very high home ownership rate. This means that most people own the apartment or house that they are living in. So, although the rising rent is definitely a bad thing, it's nowhere as bad as it would have been in some other places. Putting all of this together, there is little doubt that this has been a major benefit for the country. Last year, the country experienced significant growth and a lowering of its overall debt. This was exactly what Montenegro needed. They were betting and they won. It was a brave move and I definitely respect that. Now, if they play their cards right, they could turn that into a sustained better future. Let's just hope they can step away from the roulette table. Wait, roulette tables don't have cards, right? Sorry, I don't really know anything about gambling. I just thought it sounded cool. Oh, there's one more important thing I forgot to tell you. There is a big red button there, and if you want to see videos like this one, you can subscribe. You will get access to very strange topics that you never asked about. But if you made it to the end of the video about the Montenegrin economy, you probably enjoy that, but maybe you're not sure. Well, here's a video that you can check out. It's on the 3 crucial things that Eastern Europe does a lot better than Western Europe. And the YouTube algorithm also wants to recommend the video to you. I don't know what it is, but you might like it. That's the second one on the screen. Have an amazing day.